And what's up, everybody? And welcome to the Sports Club podcast. And we are officially back. We took a little bit of a hiatus. I just had a lot of things that were going on, but we are back officially, and we will be full gear for the NFL season. And we will definitely be talking about college football as well. And then in a month from now, obviously the baseball is going to be in the playoffs, and then before you know it, the basketball and hockey season is going to be here as well. Okay, so. We are finally here. The NFL season has officially started tonight with the Ravens and the Chiefs at 8:20 on NBC. I know that we're all looking forward to that, especially me. It's been a long time coming. And then tomorrow night, Friday night, Packers and Eagles in Mexico, out of all places. And obviously there was some controversy about the location, but we're not going to get into that. We're probably going to drop another episode on Saturday. I didn't want to talk like full depth about the NFL season just yet. We will definitely cover a little bit of the NFL season, but we're probably going to cover the Sunday games when we do an episode on Saturday, and then everything else. So I thought that we would start off with the over-unders for a quick minute. I know that there's some people out there that are gamblers. I mean, it's just the way that the NFL is. So I thought that we would start there. Okay, so Vegas has the Colts at 8 wins. Me personally, I think that the Colts are actually going to win more than 8, especially if Anthony Richardson is 100% healthy. I think that he's going to be better than a lot of people think. I like their coach. I am a little worried about the secondary, but looking at the schedule toward the end of the season, I don't think that's that bad. So for the Colts, I think that it's going to be over 8. Moving on to the Jets, they have the Jets at 6.5. As much as I do not like Daniel Jones, and during this preseason and even during practice, he has not looked good at all. He does have a rookie wide receiver who I love a lot, who did terrific things at LSU in Napier. If he can throw that ball to Napier, and if he could be a wide receiver like Garrett Wilson is for the Jets, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but if he can turn into that type of wide receiver, then the Giants could actually overachieve and win at least 7 games. For the moment, the Vegas has them at 6.5. I do like the Giants on the defense. I do think that they're going to be better than last year. So with that being said, I will take the Jets over 6.5. Now to the Jets. Vegas has the Jets at 9.5. There's just a lot of questions in terms of the health about the Jets, especially with Aaron Rodgers at his age, and considering the fact that he was only in 4 plays from last year, and there's just a lot of people that have just been bashing him about his age, and especially the stuff that's going on off the field. However, where we're going to stick with on the field in this discussion. With this offensive line, and I even said this during the last episode, I said that what the Jets absolutely had to do, the only thing that they had to worry about was addressing that offensive line. That offensive line was so bad and so terrible, I don't know how Breece Hall even managed behind that offensive line. But I've been very happy with the Jets. I think the Jets have made a lot of really good moves, especially with that offensive line. They have done what they have had to do. And if everything goes right, and I love that defense, I love the wide receivers, I still think that Aaron Rodgers, I really do think that he has one good year left, because I have yet to see the downfall of Aaron Rodgers, and there's just so many people bashing him. Folks, listen, I need to see the downfall first. Okay, and I have yet to see it. So until I see it, I still think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a good quarterback, and I think that he's going to do great things with this Jets team. I still think that the Jets are going to have a great season. So with Vegas having 9.5, I think that if everybody stays healthy and if everything clicks, especially with the coaching, because the coaching is probably the biggest weakness that the Jets have, because I'm not too crazy about this coaching staff. But if they could do enough, then I think that the Jets will easily win more than 10 games. So I'll take the over with the New York Jets. Okay, There's a lot of new quarterbacks that are in the NFL and in new places also. You have Caleb Williams with the Chicago Bears. You have Bo Nix with the Denver Broncos, who is a terrific quarterback for the type of system that Sean Payton loves to work with. There's a Jane Daniels with the Commanders. You have Kirk Cousins with the Falcons. Jacoby Brissett with the Patriots, which I don't think he's going to start every single season. Every single game for the whole season. I think that they slowly want to move Drake May in as a starter. It's just going to be a work in progress. There's Russell Wilson with the Steelers, who I don't trust because I don't like the offensive line, and I won't be shocked if they eventually go with Justin Fields with all the support that he seems to be getting from his teammates. And then you have Sam Darnold with the Vikings. That is in a throw-heavy offense with Justin Jefferson, and that head coach loves throwing the football. Let me say this about the quarterbacks. There is some talk around the NFL to make a quarterback salary not count against the cap anymore. If we look at what C.J. Stroud did last year, that's what a lot of teams would love to have, a new rookie quarterback that comes in and has a great first year and take advantage of that rookie contract and be set for the future. Some NFL owners apparently actually support quarterbacks not counting against the cap. Obviously, the players would support it also, and quarterbacks are just making so much more money than any position now that the salary cap is just so brutal, especially when quarterbacks get older and then they start to make more money, and that just really hurts teams now these days. So that'll be a work in progress. Eventually, I do think that it will happen because quarterbacks are just making so much more money these days. Obviously, the players would support it, and apparently there are some owners that support it as well. Jim Harbaugh, he's officially back in the NFL with the Chargers. Obviously, he did a great job with the 49ers. He believed in Colin Kaepernick when a few people did and almost won them Super Bowl. Now, everybody has their opinion about Kaepernick, but when he was with the 49ers and when Jim Harbaugh was the coach, he mostly behaved and did great things with Jim Harbaugh because Jim Harbaugh is a quarterback coach. But Harbaugh's going to have his work to do with the Chargers because there's still a lot of holes to fill. Let's talk about the locals for a quick minute. The Falcons are definitely going for it this year. They picked up Kirk Cousins, as I mentioned before. Obviously, everybody, including me, was shocked that they picked up Michael Penix Jr. But that's just the Falcons thinking that Cousins is only going to be there for a year or two, and they strongly believe that Michael Penix Jr. is the next quarterback up, and that eventually he will be their future. The Falcons are also favored to win the division. I do like Raheem Morris a lot as a head coach. I think that he'll do a good job. And Cousins can still get it done at his age. He's kind of like a Aaron Rodgers a little bit. Obviously, they're two different personalities a little bit, but I still think that Kirk Cousins can still get it done, and I do think that he will do great things with this offense, especially behind that offensive line. I think that that's enough to get the job done. Now to the Panthers, they went 2-15 last season. They had the worst record in the NFL. They went and hired Dave Canales, who has never been a head coach before, so obviously there's a lot of questions there. Vegas has them at 5.5 wins. Regardless of what anybody says, I still like Bryce Young. I think that he's the quarterback of the future for the Panthers, but they need to do a better job building a team around him and protecting him because I saw him play at Alabama. I know that he can be a good quarterback, but you have to protect him, and you have to give him wide receivers also because last year he just didn't have a whole lot to work with. He didn't have a great coach. He didn't have a great offensive line. He didn't have great wide receivers, and just everything was just so bad for Bryce Young. But going forward, if the Panthers do enough, and they might not have the owner to do it because I'm not exactly the biggest fan of David Tepper, but if they can do enough and if they can build around this quarterback, then they will get better. Okay, now that's going to cover the first part of the NFL season. Let me get to a question real fast. Obviously, I didn't have a whole lot because I was on a hiatus, but I have one question to go through. This is from Dave, who didn't leave a location. But his question is, in fantasy football, which player do you think is flying under the radar that will have a better season than most think? That's a very hard question because there's just a lot of fantasy sites and fantasy experts that are out there, and a lot of people have their own opinion, especially about rookies and the players that are coming in and everything like that. But I will say that the draft, of course, but the one player that I always had my eye on that I tried so hard to pick up was Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I know that because in all three of those leagues, I'm not making this up, in all three of those leagues, within 3 hours, I had at least one person and didn't say anything because they were trying to pull a quick one. So in my opinion, I think that it'll be Brian Thomas Jr. I think that Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be better than a lot of people think, in my opinion. Okay, now that will wrap up our episode from right now. I appreciate everybody listening. We will be back. We will be back on Saturday. We are going to cover more of the NFL season. We're going to go over the games on Sunday night. I hope that everybody has a good and rest of their day, and thank you very much for listening.